Number 10 is Cole Sprouse. Cole Sprouse, who is best known as Cody Martin on The Suite Life of Zack and Cody with his twin brother, and more recently as Jughead Jones on Riverdale, actually had a stint of 7 episodes on Friends from season 6 to season 8 as the slightly older version of Ross's son, Ben Geller, with his ex-wife Carol. Cole and his brother Dylan began acting at the age of 6 months old, swapping out with each other for a lot of different roles in a lot of different things. But Friends is one of the few roles that he did not appear with his brother for. Another fun fact is that baby Ben was actually played by a different pair of twins from seasons 3 to 5, which is just a funny coincidence. Ben actually mysteriously vanishes from the show in the middle of season 8 before the birth of his half-sister, Emma. He is never seen again and mentioned only rarely, and several characters even seem to forget he exists. It's literally never explained and has led to many fan theories. Number 9. Paul Rudd. Of almost all the actors who are going to appear on this list, Paul Rudd actually has the most episodes under his belt, playing Michael Mike Hannigan for 17 episodes. Mike is Phoebe's love interest and, spoilers, her eventual third husband. Paul Rudd has gone on to become a pretty huge name, especially thanks to the MCU. He's been in a ton of films before that though, like The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Role Models, I Love You Man, and then of course Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Avengers Endgame. Now he first appeared in the 3rd episode of the 9th season of Friends, the one with the pediatrician. Joey and Phoebe agree to find dates for each other to go on a double date, but of course Joey forgot all about it, and at the last minute he finds a guy named Mike at Central Perk and asks him to act like he and Joey have known each other for years. Turns out that actually worked out really well. Number 8. Ellen Pompeo. Ellen Pompeo is probably most well known for her long-running position playing the lead role of Meredith Grey on the ABC series Grey's Anatomy since 2005. Before those Grey's Anatomy days though, Ellen played a college crush of both Ross and Chandler, Missy Goldberg, in season 10's 11th episode, the one where the stripper cries, which does actually feature another rather huge personality, but we will get there when we get there. She plays the character both in the modern day and in college day flashbacks. Ross and Chandler meet Missy at their college reunion, and Ross asks permission to break the pact he and Chandler made in college and ask Missy out, only to find out that Chandler broke the pact first and used to make out with Missy in the science lab after hours, that dastardly devil. Number 7. Craig Robinson. Before he was ever a known name, Craig Robinson played an unnamed clerk who processed Phoebe's titular name change in season 10's 14th episode, the one with Princess Consuela. Craig is an American actor, stand-up comedian, and singer. He's best known for his role as warehouse foreman Daryl Philbin, one of my favorite characters other than Stanley, on The Office from 2005 to 2013, but he has been in a bunch of other comedies, including films such as Hot Tub Time Machine, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, This Is the End, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, Tyler Perry Presents Peoples, Miss March, Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, and I could keep going, but I'm kind of out of breath now, so... On to number 6, Dakota Fanning. As a child actress, Dakota Fanning got her breakthrough performance in I Am Sam in 2001, and since appeared in films like Man on Fire, War of the Worlds, and Charlotte's Web. Now Fanning began transitioning to more adult roles with Hound Dog and The Secret Life of Bees. She also portrayed Jane Falturi in the Twilight Saga and appeared in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but in Friends season 10 episode 14, the same one as Craig Robinson, Dakota Fanning played an 8-year-old girl named Mackenzie who doesn't want Chandler and Monica to buy her family's house. She forms a bond with Joey because he doesn't want Chandler and Monica to move either, but she teaches Joey that if he really wants Monica and Chandler to be happy, that he has to let them go. Wow. Nice. Number 5, Christina Applegate. Applegate earned 2 Emmy nominations, the first of which becoming an Emmy win for her guest performance as Rachel's self-centered and irresponsible sister, Amy Green. In her first appearance in the 8th episode of the 9th season, the one with Rachel's other sister, she famously pits the friends against each other at Thanksgiving dinner by asking who would get Emma if Rachel and Ross were to pass away. Her second and final appearance on the show, in the 5th episode of the 10th season, the one where Rachel's sister babysits, Amy moved in with Rachel Rachel and Joey, causing a whole ton of problems, like when she pierced Emma's ears as an example. Christina Applegate is famous for other shows like Married with Children, Family Ties, 21 Jump Street, Jessie, Samantha Who, and Up All Night, not to mention films like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, The Sweetest Thing, and Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Number 4. Brad Pitt. On the topic of Thanksgiving episodes, Brad Pitt famously guest starred in a season 8 Thanksgiving episode, episode 9, the one with the rumor, as Will Colbert while he was married to Jennifer Aniston. Rachel is Will's nemesis from high school, and he fires zinger after zinger as he confronts Rachel all these years later in adulthood. Pitt's character Will and Ross were even in the I Hate Rachel Green Club, which is kind of funny. Pitt earned himself an Emmy nomination for his performance in the show. You probably know who he is, but just in case, Brad Pitt's best known films include Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Tree of Life, Troy, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Moneyball, Killing Them Softly, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Legends of the Fall, Seven, Fight Club, Ocean's 11, and 12 Monkeys. And at number 3 is Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito also needs no real introduction, but I'll do it anyways. DeVito became popular in the hit show Taxi, and went on to appear in films like Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Harry Wormwood in Matilda, which he also directed, Penguin or Oswald Cobblepot in Batman Returns, Phil in Hercules, the Lorax in The Lorax, Martini in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Sid in LA Confidential. And the list goes on and on and on and on. More recently though, he would return to television with a starring role on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But getting back to the topic here, DeVito earned an Emmy nomination for his turn as Officer Roy Goodbody, the stripper who cries at Phoebe's bachelorette party because the girls make fun of him. But he ends up putting on quite a memorable show for them in the same episode as Ellen Pompeo, season 10's 11th episode, the one where the stripper cries. Number 2. Gary Oldman. No, he definitely did not get his start in Friends by any stretch of the imagination, but Gary Oldman, who received an Emmy nomination for playing famous actor Richard Crosby, who turns out to be a self-indulgent alcoholic in the season 7 episode The One with Monica and Chandler's Wedding, is one of my favorite actors, so he is making this list and you cannot stop me. Gary Oldman is an Oscar-nominated and critically acclaimed actor known for his roles in Harry Potter, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Leon the Professional, and Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. In the episode, Joey unexpectedly gets a part in a movie about soldiers in World War I with his famous co-star Richard, who keeps spitting in his face when reading out his lines for the sake of articulation. And in at number 1 is Jeff Goldblum. Speaking of favorite actors who definitely did not get their start in Friends, in one episode in season 9, the one with the mugging, Jeff Goldblum, famous for roles in Jurassic Park, The Fly, Independence Day, and so much more, plays a fictional famous actor named Leonard Hayes. He is recognized by Joey, Monica, and Rachel as being on a telephone commercial with a monkey that he claims he definitely was not selling out for. Hayes is directing and starring in a play that Joey auditions for, and Joey kills it thanks to needing to go tinkle. Unfortunately, that comes back to bite him when he pees his pants in front of the 6'4" actor.
Taking our 10th spot is Frankie Muniz. Frankie portrayed the show's namesake Malcolm. Frankie's extensive run on the show never stopped his bag either, as he kept up with appearances and starring roles in a slew of movie and television series, like MGM's Agent Cody Banks' double feature films and Sharknado 3. Some of Frankie's more recent works include Jonathan and the Black String from 2018 and Mike in Another Day from 2016. Lately, Frankie has been opening up more about his past and revealed specifically to People about his severe memory loss issues from the mid-2000s. Outside of starring roles, Frankie was a part of the 2017 season of Dancing with the Stars and formerly worked as a host for the franchise's single-season junior version. March 2020 saw Frankie reveal he and his wife Paige had gotten married, later announcing that the couple were expecting their first child in the fall. As of now, Frankie is all in for a potential revival of Malcolm in the Middle, and he's not the only cast member in support of this idea. As the main teen star in the Emmy award-winning sitcom, Frankie exposed in a Fox News interview that his old co-star Bryan Cranston was busy working on gathering the cast for a reunion. Quote, "He's kind of heading writing the script and getting everything rolling, so there might be something." When questioned on whether he would participate in the project, Frankie was 100% ready for it, continuing with, "When I was was on Malcolm, I was just so excited to be working on a show, but also in that same sense, when the show ended, I kind of left the business for a little bit. I started doing other things. I was racing cars, I joined a band, I was touring all over. I opened some businesses and I got to experience so many amazing things in my life, which now at this point has made me able to reflect and look back and be so appreciative of the experience. If you've ever seen an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, give today's video a quick like. Taking our 9th spot is Bryan Cranston. Of course, this list wouldn't be complete without Hal, the leading father of the series, played by Bryan himself. Over the years, this actor has gone on to star in various hit shows and movies, including 2 of his best known roles as Walter White for Breaking Bad and Jack O'Donnell for Argo. His most recent TV return was Through Your Honor, which later got renewed prior to him kickstarting the potential return of Malcolm in the Middle. The announcement for the limited series' relaunch detailed that Bryan was set to return earlier this year for its 2nd season, featuring 10 episodes. There was even further confirmation that he was returning to his Golden Globe nominated role of New Orleans judge as Michael Desiato. Despite fans' hopes for Bryan to reprise Walter White as well, he's since refused. Back in June, Bryan revealed he was diagnosed with illness during unprecedented times, but described feeling very lucky to have donated his plasma to help others. Taking our 8th spot is Justin Berfield. The 36-year-old actor is still most well known for his older sibling role as Reese on the show. Following the end of the series, Justin continued to act in a handful of jobs, dabbling in a few while working on the sitcom that made him famous, and had a couple of guest appearances in films and TV shows. He also finished a direct-to-video movie. Justin began producing on the side around this era as well. His professional credits are listed as actor, producer, director, and screenwriter, and he wrapped up his last project in 2012 according to IMDb. Per them, his next producing project is a TVV small screen series titled Muscle Shoals. Still, Justin has taken a noticeable backseat in Hollywood while he focuses on his personal life nowadays. Before this, he made an appearance on an episode of Sons of Tuscan. However, this is his last listed credit in the industry before his hiatus. Despite Justin remaining tight-lipped about his current private life, he did reveal back in May 2020 that he was a new father to a baby girl. He and his wife Liza got married prior to the birth of their child. On Justin's Instagram, his profile is flooded with adorable pictures of him and his daughter, whose face is covered in each of them. His bio also proudly states dad/actor. Taking our 7th spot is Jane Kaczmarek. The now 66-year-old actress portrayed Lois Wilkerson in the series. After Malcolm in the Middle, Jane fulfilled a handful of acting jobs, and even recently stayed busy with the growing list of appearances she made. Some of her most recent portrayals contain her additions to Jake and the Neverland Pirates as Red Jessica, Wolves at the Door playing Mary, and a feature in 6 Balloons acting as Gloria. Furthermore, Jane appeared in the 2020 film Killing Eleanor. In 2010, Jane and her ex-husband Bradley Whitford got divorced. Most recently, Jane was involved in Mixed-ish back in 2020 under the role of Eleanor. Taking our 6th spot is Eric Purcell-Sullivan, who played Dewey Wilkerson on the show. Since the sitcom's ending in 2006, Eric was accredited for numerous roles, including ones for Arthur and the Invisibles, Finding Nemo, Christmas with the Cranks, and 12. After the latter, however, Eric pretty much ghosted the industry to live a calmer life off-screen. Being another cast member who dipped out of the limelight a couple of years after the family's show's closing, Eric saw considerable traction in the industry for his part as Hal and Lois's youngest son, later earning him 2 nominations for his work at the Young Artist Awards. Taking our 5th spot is Christopher Masterson. Christopher was given the role of Francis in the series. Like several of his former co-stars, he stayed busy in his career in the years following. A few of his most up-to-date portrayals are in Bad Roomies, Beneath the Leaves, and I'd Like to Be Alone Now. The summer of 2019 saw Christopher and his wife Yolanda tying the knot, and the two eventually disclosed the expectance of their child in November 2020 on Yolanda's Instagram. More recently, Christopher informed Kevin Pollak on his show about one of the sweet gestures the actor of his on-screen dad conducted. Christopher recalled his past acting life during an interview in which he gave confirmation that the Hal Greaves episode was directed by him thanks to Bryan. Christopher described the situation through their conversations regarding his desire to direct, something he casually made known to Bryan back then. From there, reports state that Christopher was soon asked by Bryan every season what his plans were in regard to directing. He reminisced about the Breaking Bad actor being an encouraging source to help him land a job as a director on the sitcom, recalling how daunting the pressure was on him at one point. Christopher admitted to not sleeping during the run, but also stated that it was truly buzzing because of the experience Bryan had such a major part in. Taking our 4th spot is David Anthony Higgins. David was known for his role as Craig Feldspar during the series' run, and he proceeded to stay an active presence in Hollywood from there. The longtime actor acted parts like Stan in American Horror Story, Reginald Bitters in Big Time Rush, and Jerry in Be Positive to his somewhat loaded resume. In terms of his personal life, David served as an avid critic of the former president of the United States through frequent tweets about him, where he was constantly encouraging spectators to vote ahead in his last featured election. Unfortunately, outside of this, not much has been reported about David since. Taking our 3rd spot is Craig Lamar Traylor. Like a few of his other Malcolm in the Middle co-stars, not not much has been heard of Craig since his time on the show came to an end. However, while it was still airing, the actor played Stephen Kernahan on the show. Craig also appeared in a variety of movies, but his last credited portrayal was from the 2012 drama film This Bitter Earth, playing Tyrone MC. According to social media, Craig is now a wire artist who creates jewelry and other cool designs. Taking our second spot is Dakota Fanning. As a famous child actress, Dakota was quite literally dominating the scene at one point. She's known for a large portion of roles like starring in The Twilight Saga, The Secret Life of Bees, The Runaways, Sweet Home Alabama, Coraline, Uptown Girls, Charlotte's Web, and Hound Dog films. Dakota made her one-time appearance in the sitcom during the halfway point of the second season for episode 13. In it, she played Emily, the 4-year-old daughter of the Focal family's newest neighbors. Despite Dakota's outward appearance of cute, small, and friendly, fans got a taste of the actress's wilder side when her character bit Reese's leg. Still remaining a regular in front of the cameras after this, Dakota also saw a portrayal in the crime film American Pastoral. This would be its director, Ewan McGregor's motion picture debut, which was adapted from his 1997 novel of the same name and premiered at Toronto's International Film Festival. It was released limitedly through theaters from Lionsgate and was later met with a massive unideal reviews from critics. However, in the movie, Dakota took on the role of 16-year-old Meredith, with other cast members including stars like Rupert Evans, Peter Rieger, and Jennifer Connelly. Dakota was also cast for the big screen adaptation of The Bell Jar in 2018 and the 2018 heist comedy Ocean's 8. Taking our first spot is Hayden Panettiere. Like Dakota, Hayden also guest starred on Malcolm in the Middle. The actress is mostly known for her Nashville, Bring It On All or Nothing, and I Love You Beth Cooper roles. On the Fox series, Hayden was cast for a recurring role as Reese and Malcolm's Sassfield classmate Jessica. Even though the actress only made a 4-episode appearance, Hayden made the most of her pesky character. While she prepped to act out this portrayal, Hayden would regularly keep her hair unbrushed to maintain Jessica's largely frizzy style. Now, however, the actress has opened up for the first time about custody of her only child Kaya, as well as having Kaya live with her ex. In a fresh appearance on Facebook Watch's Red Table Talk, the actress detailed to co-host Jada, Adrian, and guest host Kelly Osbourne that the experience of handing over custody to her only child was deeply upsetting. From a clip of her RTT conversation, people exclusively shared that Hayden recalled signing the custody papers as the quote, most heartbreaking thing she's ever had to do in her life. Taking our 10th spot is Mario Lopez. Mario played the popular army brat and jock named Slater. Following his time on the NBC series, Mario starred in The Bold and the Beautiful, Pacific Blue, Nip and Tuck, and the expanding universe of Ashley Garcia. Mario also executively produced and created the latter. With this, Mario was also featured in a number of made-for-TV films, was the voice of Cruz for Elena of Avalor, played Vince Fontaine in Grease Live, and portrayed portions of himself in the comedies Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, and Get Him to the Greek. His TV roles include This Is Us and Jane the Virgin. Nowadays, though, acting is merely a side hustle for Mario. He now takes on more hosting roles through shows like The X Factor, Extra, and Access Hollywood. For his work on Extra, Mario bagged 2 Emmys prior to his summer 2019 transfer to Access Hollywood. Mario is also familiar with reality television as well. He played second in Dancing with the Stars' 3rd season in 2006 and landed his own VH1 show in 2010 called Mario Lopez Saved by the Baby. This series televised his journey of welcoming his first daughter Gia with his ex-girlfriend and former A Chorus Line Broadway co-star Courtney Mazza. The former pair got married in 2012 and had 2 more kids, sons Dominic and Santino, between 2013 to 2019. In 2020, the world saw Mario make his return to Saved by the Bell as Slater for the Peacock series revival. Like today's video if you've watched Saved by the Bell cast in any other shows or movies. Taking our 9th spot is Mark Paul Gosselaar. Mark starred as Bayside's cool guy Zach Morris. After Saved by the Bell was finalized, the actor moved on to star in NYPD Blue from 2001 to 2005 and Franklin and Bash from 2011 to 2014. Outside of these series, Mark carried an impressive track record for being the headliner of short-lived television shows, including Raising the Bar, DC, Nobodies, Hyper and Bay, Pitch, Truth Be Told, The Passage, Commander-in-Chief, and most recently Mixed-ish, which saw a cancellation in 2021 after 2 seasons. Mark and actress and model Lisa Ann Russell got married after Lisa appeared on an episode of Saved by the Bell College Years in 1993. They conceived 2 children named Ava and Michael before splitting in 2010. 2 years after this, Mark remarried an advertisement executive named Catriona, and the latter couple welcomed daughter Lachlan and son Decker since. Like Mario, Mark returned to his role as Zach in the Peacock revival from 2020 and later appeared as himself on an episode of Barry. Taking our 8th spot is Elizabeth Berkley. Elizabeth portrayed the overachieving straight-A student Jessie Spano, who was an on and off girlfriend of Slater and Zach's good friend and next-door neighbor. After she departed from the show, Elizabeth was an addition to Showgirls in 1995, a film that didn't hold much value at the box office and ended up negatively impacting her career. Eventually, Elizabeth scored smaller roles in on-screen works like The First Wives Club, Any Given Sunday, and The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. However, she didn't really land any major parts for the big screen. Still, Elizabeth had stints on CSI Miami, Titus, and The L Word. She was an addition to numerous made-for-TV movies, was a competitor on Dancing with the Stars' 17th season, hosted the brief Bravo reality show Step It Up and Dance, saw great success from the Broadway revival of Sly Fox and the off-Broadway revival of Hurly Burly, and published a teen self-help book in 2011 titled Ask Elizabeth. In 2013, she married Greg Lauren and they had their son Sky. Similar to her castmates, Elizabeth returned as Jessie for the SBTV revival. As of now, Elizabeth is set to star in HBO's forthcoming series The Idol, opposite huge stars including The Weeknd, Lily Rose Depp, Blackpink's Jennie Kim, Troye Sivan, and Debby Ryan. Taking our 7th spot is Tiffani Thiessen. Tiffani played the popular cheerleader Girl Next Door and long-term love of Zach's Kelly Kapowski. Following Saved by the Bell, Tiffani portrayed bad girl Valerie Malone on 90210 between 1994 to 2000. After this, it was lasting stints on Good Morning Miami, Two Guys and a Girl, and What About Bryan, before she landed her next huge role on White Collar. Tiffani also added The Ladies' Man, Son-in-Law, Alexa and Katie, and From Dusk Till Dawn on her working resume between 1990 to 2017. The actress hosted the cooking channel's Dinner at Tiffany's from 2015 to 2017. Her high-profile romances started with Brian Austin Green and ended with Brady Smith, who she eventually married in 2005. Together, they shared 2 children named Harper and Holt. 2020 saw Tiffani re-return as Kelly for the Saved by the Bell revival. Currently, Tiffani also hosts MTV's clip show Deliciousness. Taking our 6th spot is Lark Voorhees. Lark acted as the resident rich girl of Bayside High, Lisa Turtle. Once her run on the series was over, Lark appeared in Days of Our Lives, In the House, The Bold and the Beautiful, How High, and How to Be a Player alongside various made-for-TV movies. However, in 2012, the actress took part in an interview which had the media speculating her behavior, questioning her mental state, and attaching Lark to rumors of addiction struggles. Lark's mom even informed people that the actress had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but Lark denied this claim. Fast forward to 8 years later, and Lark publicly admitted that she was medically diagnosed as schizophrenic. Lark went on to self-publish 3 books in 2010 and 2011, and briefly engaged Martin Lawrence in the early 90s. She was also married to Miguel Coleman from 1996 to 2004, and then once more to Jimmy Green back in 2015 for 6 months. In 2020, Lark made her return as Lisa for a single episode of the show, later being featured in a few more, with this being her first role in almost a decade. Taking our 5th spot is Dustin Diamond. The late Dustin played the socially awkward but genius Samuel Screech Powers. Dustin was the only original Bayside High actor to return to Saved by the Bell The New Class, which was on air from 1993 to 2000. His work as an actor continued, but he never saw nearly as much success as his time on the NBC original. Dustin eventually tried his hand at stand-up comedy, putting out an alternative metal album with his brief band Salty the Pocket Knife, dropped a 2000 adult film, and appeared on reality TV shows Celebrity Big Brother, Celebrity Fit Club, and Celebrity Championship Wrestling. He was embroiled in a scandal in 2009 surrounding his SBTV cast when he released a controversial tell-all book called Behind the Bell. This story was inspired by Lifetime's 2014 The Authorized Saved by the Bell story. In the end, Dustin revealed his ghostwriter over-exaggerated a lot of the memoir's touchy details, though he was still an executive producer on the Lifetime movie it spurred. In 2016, Dustin was locked up for 3 years for a violent late 2014 altercation with another man and a switchblade at a Wisconsin bar. Dustin claimed it was self-defense for himself and his then fiancée Amanda Schutz. However, he was incarcerated once more in mid-2016 for violating the terms of his then probation. Dustin was not invited by Peacock to take part in the Saved by the Bell revival and suddenly passed away from cancer 2 weeks following this. SBTV eventually honored him in an episode of the 2nd season with a group tribute scene. Taking our 4th spot is Dennis Haskins. Dennis was Bayside's principal Mr. Belding on SBTV. He also starred in The New Class from 1993 to 2000. His work as an actor remained regular after the series' run, but he didn't quite reach mainstream recognition in his later years. Still, he was featured in a 3-episode stint of Men of a Certain Age and made brief appearances in the 2018 indie drama Clemency and Seth MacFarlane's 2014 comedy A Million Ways to Die in the West. Dennis's additional pop-ups include How I Met Your Mother, Mad Men, and New Girl. In 2009, Dennis dropped an album complete with cover songs. Nearly a decade following this, Dennis channeled Mr. Belding again to star in Dirty Head's high school-themed music video Vacation. Taking our 3rd spot is Leanna Creel. Leanna acted as Bayside's Tori Scott, who was brought in during the final season for the show's 64th episode, The New Girl. She was a fast enemy of Zach's, but the two eventually dated, classic enemies to lovers style. For appearances after the show, Leanna was part of Ned and Stacy and One West Waikiki. For production, Leanna worked on movies including But I'm a Cheerleader, Six String Samurai, The Suburbans, Get Over It, Mixed Signals, Queen for a Day, and Possums. Leanna executively produced Desert Blue, Boo Near, Texas Pop 81, and Dancer. With this, the actress directed and penned Offside and Promtroversy. Her last appearance in Saved by the Bell was for the 1992 episode School Song. Once Ignite Films was sold, Leanna moved on to launch her own photographic business while traveling on the side. However, she's remained behind the camera still, now producing and directing for major companies like Yahoo! Taking our 2nd spot is Christine Taylor. Christine was a guest star in SBTV, and despite not one character being surprised by Zach's practically impossible score on his SATs, he managed to impress a girl named Heather, who was portrayed by a much younger Christine. In one of her earliest roles, Heather seems to be set up to become Zach's newest love interest until the plot twist of her boyfriend crashing their study session in Zach's room takes place. Since her time on the show, Christine is making news headlines for the recent reconciliation of her 2-decade marriage to Ben Stiller. They first shocked the world when their relationship was reported to be unraveling in their 17th year. However, now they're back together, and they give credit to the 3 years the world spent stuck at home as one factor for their makeup. In a recent Esquire interview, Ben admitted that he and Christine agreed fairly early on to re-move back into their shared home so Ben could spend more time with their family. The two first met in 1999 on the set of the Brady Bunch movie and married the following year. Taking our 1st spot is Denise Richards. Another guest star of the series was Denise, only this time she played a beach babe named Cynthia who partook in the gang's Malibu Sands Summer of Fun. Cynthia faked a drowning so Slater could save her, and the character ended up scoring a date with the latter. Nowadays though, Denise is known for so much more, specifically for being a sensual icon and for her time on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She recently stunned just about the whole world when she stepped out for Halloween this year in a dazzling bodysuit made of latex with a deep plunging neckline. The confidence she is so well known for really shone through in her October 31st Instagram post of the cat costume, captioned "Happy Halloween" with a pumpkin emoji and crediting tags for her glam team and photographer. This by far wasn't even the first spicy photo that Denise has shared with her fans either. She previously signed up for the subscription-based site OnlyFans after her daughter Sammy joined. The Real Housewives alum charges viewers $25 per month to view her exclusive content while answering extremely personal questions asked of her by dedicated supporters. Taking our 10th spot is Chris Pratt, who portrayed the character Shay Cook during his time on the show. His post-Everwood but pre-Parks and Recreations and Guardian of the Galaxy eras saw Chris sharpening his comedic chops to star as the messy-haired Brown University student Shay, who doubled as an activist. Shay made a total of 9 episode appearances, all in the show's 4th season, and in it he manages to get Summer, played by Rachel, suspended from school while later believing that Adam's character Seth was his soulmate. Since his time on the show, Chris worked extra hard in Hollywood to receive his most outstanding achievement in 2014. For it, he doubled from his back-to-back super roles in both critically acclaimed hit films Guardians of the Galaxy and The Lego Movie. Chris also previously received attention due to his former portrayals in supporting roles, transitioning into leading hero characters for his revamped good guy image through Marvel and Warner Bros. Specifically. His rise to prominence first started with Parks and Recreations, however, where he was hired to play Andy Dwyer in the NBC sitcom. Chris has popped up in several other on-screen works as well, like his addition to Warner Bros.' Everwood series and taking on supporting roles in films not limited to Jennifer's Body, Wanted, Zero Dark 30, Her, and Moneyball. If you haven't already engaged with today's WATN, comment below your favorite OC character. Taking our 9th spot is Olivia Wilde. It may be shocking to know that Olivia was once an unknown face in Hollywood, in which during this time she portrayed the show's character Alex Kelly. Olivia was featured in 13 episodes during the series' 2004 to 2005 season. Alex was a music venue owner of the Bait Shop, and she momentarily dated Seth before she found a more personally fitting venture with Marissa. Their characters' gratifying same-sex relations only lasted for a few episodes before they fizzled out, but the showrunner Josh Schwartz clarified in a 2011 Out.com interview that the storyline of their lesbian affair was not meant to bring in ratings. Quote, "We cooked it up well before the show ever premiered this year. Outside of acting, Olivia is a filmmaker, but the OC is far from her only TV role. She's obtained a part in the medical drama TV show House as Remy 13 Hadley, and has made other appearances in films like Tron Legacy Cowboys and Aliens, The Lazarus Effect, and Incredible Burt Wonderstone, to name a few." Olivia's Broadway debut arrived in 2017 when she played in 1984 as Julia. Her first film was directed in 2019 and was a teen comedy called Booksmart, that she later won an Independent Spirit Award for their Best First Feature category. Olivia's second and most recent feature is her Don't Worry Darling film, which was released earlier this year in September. Taking our 8th spot is Amber Heard. Around the time that the former Mrs. Depp was in her star-studded but evidently rocky relationship, she also had a guest part in the OC. She wasn't given an official name in her episodes, solely being referred to as Sales Girl. However, she did get the opportunity to interact on screen with Marissa and the gang. The episode revolves around the storyline that their crew are hanging out at the mall, but eventually get locked in after the establishment closes. The actress's first leading role was her audition in the 2006 horror film All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. After this, Amber was featured in a handful of films like The Word in 2010, Drive Angry in 2011, and Aquaman in 2018. She's found her most recent fame from the attraction of her virally memed defamation lawsuit against her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Taking our 7th spot is Marissa Cooper's Mischa Barton. Outside of her OC life, Mischa kept herself quite busy as an actress. She's made appearances on Spree, Law & Order Special Victims Unit, Star-Crossed, The Beautiful Life, Ouija House, and Recovery Road, to name a few. She also starred on a season of Dancing with the Stars and was a part of the reality television show The Hills' New Beginning. The British American has taken her turn on stages, films, and television collectively. Her career actually began on a stage when she became an addition to Tony Kushner's Slavs. Mischa also bagged the lead in 12 Dreams by James Lapine, produced at the Lincoln Center in New York City. Mischa's on-screen debut was as a guest star in the American soap opera All My Children. She moved on to voice acting for Nickelodeon's cartoon series KABLAM. However, Mischa didn't obtain a major role until she starred as the protagonist of the drama Lawn Dawn as Sam Rockwell's co-star. Mischa has been included in other major motion pictures like M. Night Shyamalan's psychological thriller The Sixth Sense and the rom-com Notting Hill. Mischa additionally starred in the indie crime drama Pups. Taking our 6th spot is Ben McKenzie. Ben played Ryan Atwood in the OC before he moved on to be the star of other TV dramas like his part as Ben Sherman and James Gordon in Southland and Gotham, in which he also wrote episodes for and directed the latter. You can catch Ben in other big screen works like Decoding Annie Parker, Line of Duty, and Some Kind of Beautiful. His Broadway debut was through Grand Horizons in 2020. Ben and his former OC guest star and Gotham co-star Marina Baccarin married in June 2017. Their first daughter Frances was welcomed in March 2016, and the couple eventually announced their son's arrival in March 2021. Taking our 5th spot is Seth Cohen's Adam Brody. Following the OC, Adam maintained his pace by picking up jobs in the acting industry. He's been a part of Good Vibes, Single Parents, The League, House of Lies, New Girl, Curfew, Startup, and Burning Love. The California native has also made appearances in movies such as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Scream 4, Jennifer's Body, Think Like a Man 2, Shazam, Sleeping with Other People, In the Land of Women, The Oranges, Thank You for Smoking, and Chips. Adam and his OC co-star Rachel were romantically involved during the show's run. However, Adam eventually married Gossip Girl's Leighton Meester in February 2014. They welcomed their daughter Arlo in August 2015, and then again with the confirmation of their son's birth in September 2020. Taking our 4th spot is Rachel Bilson, who portrayed Summer Roberts during her time on the show. Rachel continued to mark her position in TV history with parts in shows like How I Met Your Mother, Heart of Dixie, Take Two, Nashville, and Chuck. She's also debuted in The Last Kiss and shown up in The To-Do List, Waiting for Forever, Life Happens, and Jumper. Rachel also co-hosts the podcast Welcome to the OC alongside her OC co-star Melinda Clark. The actress introduced her daughter Brya to the world in October 2014 alongside her former fiance Hayden. The two separated in 2017 after a decade of time together. Rachel later romantically involved herself with Bill Harder for a little under a year before they split in July 2020. Taking our 3rd spot is Peter Gallagher. Peter acted as Sandy Cohen in the infamous primetime drama series, but this wasn't the actor's only shot at success on screen, as he still remains an integral part of the Hollywood acting scene through his additions to Law & Order Special Victims Unit, After, New Girl, The Good Wife, Covet Affairs, Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, Grace and Frankie, A Bad Mom's Christmas, The Gifted, Palm Springs, Rescue Me, and Californication. Peter has been married to Paula Hardwood since May 1983, and the two share 2 children together named James and Catherine. Taking our second spot is Sadie Campbell's Nikki Reed. Even though her role was on the smaller side, she had a 6-episode character arc in which she shared a brief romance with Ryan, which sparked jealousy in Marissa. Sadie was meant to have an eventual rivalry with Marissa, but in the end the attempt is unsuccessful. However, Nikki's start as an established actress and writer came before the OC in 2006, when she was the lead star in the teen film 13. After she completed her Newport guest role, Nikki moved on to embody Rosalie Hale with massive commercial success throughout the entirety of the Twilight franchise films. The Kevin actor of Marissa's killer ex-boyfriend, Cam Gigande, portrayed James in 2 Twilight movies with Nikki. Nikki's performance in 13 landed her an Independent Spirit Award for Best Debut Performance, alongside several additional nominations. She appeared in American Gun and Lords of Dogtown prior to her Twilight role. And taking our first spot is Shailene Woodley. Shailene was another actress with a smaller role on the OC, however, she had a slightly bigger part in the pilot, playing Marissa's sister Caitlin Cooper. In light of the season's wrapping, Caitlin was shipped off to boarding school and wasn't seen again until she resurfaced in the 3rd season. But Shailene had to re-audition for her role at the time, and the casting department made a shocking decision when they settled with Willa Holland for the recast. Willa remained in her then new role until the series came to its final close. Back in 2011, Shailene took some time to reminisce about her junior portrayal with Movie Phone, where she explained, "I didn't go through puberty until late, so at 11 I was like a little mouse child. I looked like an 8-year-old. That same year I filmed a movie in which I was playing a 9-year-old. So there was no weirdness when Willa got it because she was so obviously right for the role and I was so obviously not." The actress's first nomination came from her performance in the 2004 TV film A Place Called Home, where she was nominated for a Young Artist Award for Best Leading Young Actress in a TV movie. She later won a 2013 Special Jury Award for the Sundance Film Festival's acting category due to her portrayal in the coming-of-age film The Spectacular Now. Shailene began modeling when she was 4 and quickly moved into professional acting in minor television parts. Her first buzz in Hollywood picked up traction from her ABC Family drama series The Secret Life of the American Teenager, playing the optimistic and ambitious high school teen Amy Juergens, who eventually became pregnant after entangling with the school's resident bad boy. Shailene has obtained other major roles in films like Fault in Our Stars and Divergent, and made her film debut through The Descendants. For her work in the latter, Shailene was awarded a Canes Trophy Chopard while also receiving nominations for the Golden Globes Award Best Supporting Actress Motion Picture and 3 separate Critics' Choice Movie Awards.